Mary McLeod Bethune, she went from a plantation worker to an educator and even started up her own school after getting funding. Bethune would eventually merge with another school to create the Bethune-Cookman University, a very important college in terms of Black history. Her great teaching skills led her to be an advocate for change and to be a big leader in the civil rights movement, and she earned a lot of success because of it. Many even state that she was the first African-American woman to have a position at the White House under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and she made the most of that opportunity.
Could you imagine?
Number 3,
at the White House.
Jane Boland.
Hey everybody, this is Dean F.M. Dean Fraser Milford here for your creature comfort. And today I wanted to do another reaction video. This one's going to be to 10 most influential Black women. A lot of you seem to appreciate what I be talking about. Black women, the struggle, and the reality there. And to give you a little bit of backstory, as far as my involvement in this, my political journey on this channel has a lot to do with Kamala, her loss, and the fact that I firmly believe that Kamala lost the election. What tipped the scale was the Black woman factor. And I think, if y'all don't remember, there was a lot of hate for Barack brought out something deep in America. Many people have a kind of a similar thing with Kamala, and the Black woman factor is what did it. Race is, in my opinion, seems like it's very much a construct of racial issues from back in the day. White imperialism, very black and white way to put it, but ethnicity, in my opinion, is more appropriate since we're talking about the struggle that shouldn't exist and very hurtful and very much around, and that is very much unrecognized. I am going to say Black woman. I am going to identify my sisters because that's what we say on this channel. That's the way I want to lead the channel, championing a existence, fabulous, wonderful, thriving, beautiful, and encouraging, loving, and caring existence and the legacy of Black women. So please make sure to like and subscribe.
From members of the civil rights movement to leaders in politics and law, stay tuned to number 1 to find out about 10 of the most amazing Black women you may never have heard of.
Thank you for making this video, computer voice. Oh, a little dramatic as hell.
Number 10, okay. Diane Nash. At one point in her life, Diane Nash was not forced to face the segregation that was gripping the United States at the time of her birth. She was born in 1938 and lived in Chicago, Illinois, which is legendary for its integration and multiculturalism, which is even a mandatory course in certain colleges like DePaul University. The North had always been further advanced than the South in that regard, so Nash didn't have to witness it. That is, until she went to Fisk University in Tennessee. And it was there that racism was on full display. Segregated bathrooms, lunch areas, and worse, were all around her. And one look at it gave her life an about-face. Because not long after experiencing this, she became a key member of the civil rights movement. She helped orchestrate sit-ins that helped integrate lunchrooms. She helped fight for the desegregated.
If you think about looking back at those sit-ins and the history there, be harassed. It took a lot of bravery at this time to be a part of the movement in and of itself, to say that you're a part of the movement, which is why these times are so important. Make sure that you get, your little piece of the history. Make your little mark. Like, that's what I'm trying to do.
Bring the Selma voting rights to form, which allowed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to be made. Diane Nash may not have been as big as Rosa Parks or Martin Luther King Jr., but she had a big part to play in the history of the country. Number 9, Fannie Lou Hamer.
Why'd you have to add that? Like, that
another
she wasn't
key
as
member
popular
in helping African Americans get voting rights was Fannie Lou Hamer.
Okay.
But she did it in one of the most charged places there was in the United States at the time. Mississippi.
I got it right.
Along with Diane Nash, were on the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which helped push the rights of Black voters. And she helped lead this, even when people would threaten or even attack any Black person who dared try to vote. She never backed down. Oh, but her time in the spotlight was far from done. In fact, she was just getting started. Fannie Lou Hamer had the voice and passion to bring people to listen to her, and at the Democratic National Convention of 1964, she went and criticized the whole place because the entire Mississippi delegation was white. This act was even televised, so everyone got to hear her words and her passion. But she still wasn't done there. Because she was doing such a great job, the president, Lyndon B. Johnson, called an emergency press conference just to get her off the air.
Oh, wow.
That's right. They needed the president to come forward to stop her.
Stop the fabulous
That's impressive
sister.
in any country. Number 8, Althea Gibson. Before we talk about this sports star, take a moment to like this video and join the Zero to Hero community by subscribing to our channel.
I don't like your channel name.
When you think about tennis, there are a few names that come to mind. When you think of women's tennis, you likely think of Venus and Serena Williams, who were and are two of the most dominant female tennis stars the world has ever seen. But without a woman named Althea Gibson, that may not have happened. Why is that? Althea Gibson was the first African-American woman to be allowed to play in a major tennis tournament. In this case, Wimbledon. In many ways, she was the Jackie Robinson of tennis, helping break down barriers. And make no mistake, she was a champion too. She won 11 titles during her 8-year career and made 19 finals. She won the French Open, Wimbledon twice, the U.S. Nationals twice, and even won as a double competitor. Many black women followed in her footsteps, and that led to the arrival of the Williams sisters, who have dominated in the modern era. And for all of her victories and her impact on the sport, Althea Gibson was given the honor of being put into the Tennis Hall of Fame in the class of 1971. Number 7, Ella Baker. When you think about the civil rights movement, you no doubt picture many of the faces of the movement, as you should. But there were hundreds, if not thousands, working together behind the scenes to try and achieve this dream of a unified nation. And one of the people behind the scenes was Ella Baker, a woman who spent 50 years of her life trying to bring equality to all, including helping to organize events for some of the faces of the movement, such as Thurgood Marshall and Martin Luther King Jr., just to name a few. Not only was she an organizer, she was a mentor, and she helped bring up people in the movement like Diane Nash, Bob Moses, and Rosa Parks, people who were vital to changing how the country worked. If it wasn't for Baker, many of them wouldn't be the names that you now know. She didn't stop there, though. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee had her as not only an advisor, but also a key strategist to get things done, because they knew she was smart enough and crafty enough to do it.
I don't doubt it.
The most well-known person in the civil rights movement, but she didn't mind that, because she knew the work was seen.
Good.
In her own words, you didn't see me on television, you didn't see news stories about me. The kind of role I tried to play was to pick up pieces or put together pieces out of which I hoped organization might come. My theory is strong people don't need strong leaders. Number 6, Madam C.J. Walker. A common misconception about the times that the civil rights movement was prominent in was that all African American citizens were poor. That honestly wasn't the case. It was a large number, but not all. Of course not. We've been up in this. One of the big exceptions to the rule was Madam C.J. Walker, who was not only not poor, she was a self-made millionaire. In fact, she's considered to be the first African-American woman to be a self-made millionaire.
Fabulous.
The irony here is that it was done in the most basic way you could think. During the 1890s, Madam Walker was dealing with hair loss issues, so she created her own hair care products to help her. When she soon realized it worked, she started to sell her products door to door to other black women like her. Eventually, she got so big, she made her own business.
We have to.
And even had a workforce of 40,000 people selling her products.
They tried to strip us
down. When she wasn't making products or selling them, she was a big donor to various organizations, including the YMCA and the NAACP. Number 5, Katherine Johnson. When I say NASA, what do you think of? The Apollo missions that took people to the moon?
The one that crashed.
That is still exploring the galaxy with probes and satellites. Well, once upon a time, all of that was a pipe dream, but an African-American woman named Katherine Johnson helped make that dream a reality. Johnson was a mathematician and a darn good one. She helped NASA calculate many equations that were vital to launch men into space and get them back safely.
Of course.
Specifically, she helped calculate orbital mechanics, a key thing to know if you're going to rocket something into the sky.
Come on, sister.
Her work was so good that NASA kept her on for various projects, including potential projects to Mars. If you've ever heard of the movie Hidden Figures, you'll likely know that Katherine Johnson was one of the characters played in the film, because her and other African-American women helped get man to the moon.
Yeah, of course, it's got to be the man, but you're not going to at least point out what you're saying.
Education during the civil rights movement was a big talking point in many ways, mainly because many African-American schools and students weren't given what they needed in order to teach.
I'm sure.
Mary McLeod Bethune was one who challenged that. She went from a plantation worker to an educator and even started up her own school after getting funding. Bethune would eventually merge with another school to create the Bethune-Cookman University, a very important college in terms of black history. Her great teaching skills led her to be an advocate for change and to be a big leader in the civil rights movement, and she earned a lot of success because of it. Many even say that she was the first African-American woman to have a position at the White House under Franklin Delano Roosevelt, albeit an informal one. But still, back then,
Yeah.
that was a huge step in the right direction, and she made
We had
the
leaders
most of
in
that
there back in the
opportunity.
day. Could you imagine?
Number 3,
in the White House.
Jane Bolin. One of the biggest stereotypes in the world during the 1900s was that women couldn't do all of the things that men could, especially if they were of color. But Jane Bolin fought to shatter that stereotype in every way that mattered, mainly through her love of the law. She wanted to work in law, and so she went to Yale University, and she was the first black woman to ever graduate from there. But her true claim to fame came in 1939, when she became the first black woman in the history of the United States to become a judge, setting a precedent that would continue to this day, and proving more than anything, no matter what gender or color, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. Number 2, Ruby Bridges.
Like this. So am I so
Throughout this list, you've seen many strong black women who have helped to change the world. But what if I told you that a little girl named Ruby Bridges helped change it just as much?
Oh,
Brown
wow.
versus the Board of Education was the law that made it illegal to segregate schools. But just because it was a law didn't mean it would happen.
No, I'm sure not quickly.
Young Ruby Bridges, only 6 years old at the time, was the first young girl to be put into an all-white school in the South. Protests and threats of violence were put to Ruby's inclusion, and the local police refused to get her to school under their protection. So President Dwight D. Eisenhower ordered federal marshals to take her to school and keep her safe.
Sister, come on.
And though the threats and protests continued, Ruby Bridges went to school, and the world slowly became even more integrated.
Yeah, they didn't
Number
hate the
1,
kids.
Amelia
They
Boynton
didn't
Robinson.
care. That was their parents.
Amelia Boynton Robinson may be one of the most important figures in the civil rights movement, depending on how you look at things.
Go back. I want to make sure I get that.
Boynton Robinson. Amelia Boynton Robinson may be one of the most important figures in the civil rights movement, depending on how you look at things. This is primarily because of how she was a key member in the Selma March of 1965. And she was there when Bloody Sunday happened, an act that saw police and other people beating the protesters. And Amelia Boynton Robinson was no different. In fact, her beating at the hands of the Alabama police was one of the images that shocked the country into action. Robinson was also a key member in the voting rights movement and was friends with all of the big players in the movement like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and many of the rest. She was also the first black woman to run for Congress, a feat that led to many things in the future, including President Barack Obama speaking at her funeral after she passed away at the ripe old age of 104. Long after the changes she fought for had finally been put into place. She was as strong, as hopeful, and as indomitable of a spirit, as quintessentially American as I'm sure she was that day 50 years ago. President Obama said, "To honor the legacy of an American hero like Amelia Boynton requires
that's why I didn't like Obama. That's why I didn't like
that all of us fight to protect everyone's right to vote." Tell us what you think about these heroes in the comments below.
Yeah, heroes are fabulous. They never been zeros. That's my whole thing. Like the zero to hero. They weren't ever zeros to begin with. I don't know. There's some language here. And that, my dear, was reacting to 10 most influential black women. You know how we do. If you are out there and you are a black woman and you are my audience, cisgender or not, I praise you. I lift you up. I'm here for you. Angels. I will fight to the death for you as I will for other marginalized communities, but understand that your struggle is not unseen, and I will make sure of that. And I hope you have a nice day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.